Yeah, because I originally saw you in a documentary, 14 Days in May, and I didn't really know much about death row or their system. To be honest, I hadn't really given it much thought. I feel like, maybe back in school they might say, "Oh, what do people think about sort of death penalty and things like that?" And that is probably the only time that it's really covered. But then, so I saw this documentary, and it followed in Mississippi Edward L. Jones, sort of his
Yes.
last 2 weeks being on death row, and you were his lawyer, his defense lawyer, trying to fight for those that his appeal in a way. So, can you tell me a little bit about what that was like? Would you say his case was quite common? Sort of just to give like viewers a bit of context. He was accused of killing a police officer and raping a 60-year-old woman, and then he claimed his innocence, and he was taken by police officers to do a lie detector test. And then on the side of the road, they pulled him over and said, basically confess now, or we'll say you ran, and no one will know what we've done to you out here, basically. So he did a confession, but later claimed he was innocent. Do you think that sort of story was common for things that you saw at the time in the sort of 1980s Mississippi? Do you think a lot of people on death row were almost? Do you think a lot of them were innocent and they
Oh,
were?
look, it's not a 1980s story. It's a today story. And I was just a few minutes ago, I was on the phone with someone about a project I have where I'm representing 236 people who have been executed already to explore their claims of innocence. And I thought that maybe we'd find 20 reasonable claims of innocence. But I've been working on this project for 6 years now. And I've narrowed 236 down to 206. 206 very strong cases of innocence, which is about 13% of the people they've executed. And this project is something actually that rose out of Edward's case, because I was 27 when I did his case. I was young. I was very stupid. And one of the things is, if I knew then what I know now, he would be alive today. And he was dependent on me as a volunteer, a young, I don't thrash myself in guilt because no one else would have done it. And so he was stuck with me. But this is a typical example of someone on death row who was innocent, who ended up being killed.